Hello students, welcome to today's session of chemistry. As you all know, we have started studying fifth lesson of your syllabus, that is electrochemistry. Before going further, we'll just revise what we learned in the previous session. We learned about the primary voltaic cells. The cells which cannot be recharged are called primary voltaic cells. And the only example included in your syllabus is Leclanche cell or dry cell. In the previous session, we learned about the construction and cell reactions as well as uses of dry cell. The question of construction, write down the construction and working of dry cell can be asked for 3 marks in exam. So, when it is said working, that means you have to write cell reactions along with its description. That means when you say oxidation, you have to write what actually happens there and the reaction as well. Then reduction, then net cell reaction, everything. So that carries 3 marks. In construction, you have to draw correct labeled figure. If there are no labels, then you will not get marks. So label should be there. So the only example of primary voltaic cell included in your syllabus is dry cell. Now, we will start studying secondary voltaic cells. The cells which can be recharged. That means when we use the cell, we call it discharging. And when we apply a potential slightly greater than the potential obtained from that cell, it gets recharged. And the original reactants are restored. Hence, these types of cells are called secondary voltaic cells. So we can recharge them. So the example of secondary voltaic cell which we are going to study today is lead storage battery, or we call it lead accumulator. This lead accumulator stores electrical energy due to regeneration of original reactants during recharging. It functions as galvanic cell and as electrolytic cell as well. Do you understand by this? That means while discharging, that means while using. For example, we use lead storage battery in our automobiles or vehicles. So, in vehicles, when vehicle is running, the battery is discharging. That means we are getting electrical energy from that battery. And when the discharging is completed, we can understand that easily. How? I'm going to tell you. When discharging is over, we have to recharge it by applying the potential slightly greater than the potential obtained from that battery. And while recharging, that battery acts as an electrolytic cell, the cell in which electrical energy is used to carry out a chemical reaction. And in galvanic cell, chemical reaction occurs which produces or generates electricity. Completely opposite to each other. But in secondary voltaic cells, both types, that cell works or functions as galvanic cell as well as an electrolytic cell. How? We will study that. And so let us start with lead storage battery. First point is construction, which includes figure as well as the description. So lead storage battery has one, as usual, it has one anode, one cathode, and one electrolytic solution. So in this battery, a group of lead plates packed with spongy lead serve as anode. What is anode? Anode is plain lead plates, we can say. That means the common plates, lead plates are taken on which spongy lead is adsorbed on the surface that works as an anode. While another group of lead plates, it is said that lead plates, not only single plate, but it is a group of plates, bearing lead dioxide serves as cathode. That means again, lead plates are taken and those are coated with, adsorbed with lead dioxide, and those work as cathode. So there are some plates which work as anode, which are plain lead plates coated with lead, and some plates which are used as cathode, those are also of lead, but those are coated with lead dioxide which work as cathode. And the figure is like this. Here you can see, I will just enlarge the figure. Anode are these plain plates which are there. These plain plates which are placed alternately, which are connected to a common point, work as anode. These are plain lead plates coated with lead. Alternately placed are these black plates. Those are the lead plates coated with lead dioxide. Those work as cathode. Why the number of plates are there? Not only a single pair is there. Because when we use more number of plates, the area of adsorption, or we can say the reaction, goes on increasing. Only when we use only two plates, one anode and one cathode, we get around about 2 volts of voltage. But if we increase the number of plates, so many number of plates or pairs we can use of lead and lead dioxide, and as the number of plates go on increasing, we will get more voltage from that. So we can increase our potential or voltage by increasing the number of plates. Hence, I have shown here three pairs of anodes and cathode, and this is the figure. What is electrolyte here? Electrolyte is 38% H2SO4, 38% by mass, and with its density 1.2 gram per ml. So, simple arrangement is there. You have to remember or practice this figure so that in exam you can easily draw it within a short time interval. To draw the figure in a less time requires practice. So just try 2 or 3 times to draw the figure. It will help you to reduce your time in exam. Okay. Now, the electrolyte, the description will continue with, to provide large reacting surface, as I told you. The cell contains several plates of each type. We can use several plates. The two types of plates are alternately arranged. Only the arrangement should be alternate and they should be connected to a common point. The electrodes are immersed in an electrolytic aqueous solution of 38% by mass of sulfuric acid of density 1.2 gram per ml. So this is a construction. Understood? Now, next point is notation. Notation of the cell. Cell is formulated as anode, as I told you, is plain lead plates, lead in solid state, single vertical line, lead sulfate with, again, lead sulfate is a precipitate, hence it is in solid state. Again, single vertical line, 38% H2SO4, which is in aqueous state. Again, single vertical line, lead sulfate solid, single vertical line, lead dioxide solid, single vertical line, lead solid. This lead with lead dioxide is cathode and plain lead is anode. What is in between? H2SO4 38% by mass is an electrolyte which we place at the center. PbSO4 solid, which is on both the sides, it will occur in reactions. Lead gets reacted with sulfate ions from H2SO4, which is in aqueous state. That means it gets ionized. Hence, sulfate ions are produced. And lead, when it is converted into lead plus Pb plus 2, it reacts with sulfate ions to give you lead sulfate. All the species are separated by single vertical line. There is no double vertical line anywhere. What is double vertical line indicates? It indicates indirect contact. As we have used a single container for anode as well as cathode and a single electrolytic solution, hence the contact is direct. Hence there is no double vertical line in between. Understood? So remember this, you have to mention the states in the bracket. A solid state, aqueous state, it is compulsory to get half mark is reserved for writing a notation. Understood? Now the working, or we call it cell reaction. Now in lead storage battery, as it is a secondary voltaic cell, two types of cell reactions we have to see. Cell reactions during discharge and cell reactions during recharge. In working as a galvanic cell, we call it cell reactions during discharge. Here, anode is lead and cathode is lead dioxide. While working, while during recharging, while working as an electrolytic cell, the charges are exactly reverse. That means anode in electrolytic cell, if you remember, it carries positive charge, but in galvanic cells, it carries negative charge. Hence, completely opposite reactions will take place during recharging. That we will see in detail later. Just now, we will see the cell reactions during discharge. This construction you remember? Now, what is anode here? Anode is plain lead plate. What happens at anode? At anode, there is always oxidation. What is oxidation? Oxidation is a removal of electrons. So, lead will remove electrons and get converted into lead ions. And the reaction will be like removal. So, when the cell provides current, spongy lead is oxidized to Pb plus 2 ions and negative charge accumulates on lead plates. That means Pb gets converted into Pb plus 2 with the removal of 2 electrons. These Pb plus 2 ions, when they go into the solution, they combine with sulfate ions, that means SO4 minus 2 ions, to form insoluble lead sulfate. SO4 minus 2 ions, from where they come? H2SO4 we are using as an electrolyte and it is in aqueous state. Hence, it will dissociate into H plus and SO4 minus 2 ions. So, SO4 minus 2 ions, as they are in the electrolytic solution, immediately Pb plus 2 ions will combine with SO4 minus 2 ions to form a precipitate of lead sulfate. So, the reactions are like this. The net oxidation then will be the sum of these two reactions. So, let us see the reactions. So, Pb gets converted into Pb plus 2 with the removal of 2 electrons. This is the basic oxidation reaction. But followed by this reaction, what happens is this. Pb plus 2 ions react with SO4 minus 2 ions to give lead sulfate. This is precipitation reaction, and the net oxidation occurring at anode will be the sum of these two reactions. This is first reaction, which is overall oxidation. We have to write this reaction only because while writing net cell reaction, we have to add oxidation and reduction reactions. And oxidation reaction is this: Pb plus SO4 minus 2. Pb plus 2 will be cancelled. So Pb plus SO4 2 gives PbSO4 plus 2 electrons. While writing the reactions, you have to mention the states in the bracket at the bottom, right side of the species. Okay. So this is overall oxidation. Then what happens at cathode? At cathode, a reduction takes place. The electrons produced at anode travel through external circuit and re-enter the cell at cathode. So the process is same. Galvanic cell, the anode, the electrons are removed, they travel through the external circuit towards cathode where they are accepted and they get discharged. So at cathode, what is there? There is lead dioxide that gets reduced to Pb plus 2 ions in presence of H plus ions of H2SO4. So the reaction is a bit complicated. We'll learn that. Subsequently, what happens again? Pb plus 2 ions are produced. And when Pb plus 2 ions are produced, they immediately react with the negatively charged SO4 minus 2 ions as they are there in the electrolytic solution. And hence, Pb plus 2 ions combine with SO4 minus 2 ions from H2SO4 to form again insoluble PbSO4. That means a precipitation occurs and they get coated on the electrode, that is cathode. So a bit complicated reaction at cathode occurs. Electrons come towards cathode. They are accepted by lead dioxide ions and they get converted into Pb plus 2 ions. And these Pb plus 2 again get reacted with SO4 minus 2 ions to form a precipitate of lead sulfate. So let us see the reactions. The reactions are like this. Net reduction again will be the sum. The reaction is like this. PbO2 solid, which is cathode, and the H plus ions from the H2SO4, that is electrolyte, they accept those electrons and form Pb plus 2 plus twice H2. A liquid will be formed. So the reduction reaction is like this. PbO2 accept those electrons, but as there are H plus ions in the medium, they together form H2O with the removal of Pb plus 2. Again Pb plus 2 is formed. So it will react with the SO4 minus 2 ions in the solution and the precipitation. Same reaction which occurs at anode, here also occurs that. Hence, in the notation also, we have written PbSO4 on both the sides. So this is precipitation reaction again. Then what will be the reduction reaction? We have to write net reduction reaction. That will be the sum of these two reactions, and this is net reduction reaction or overall reduction reaction we call. So PbO2 plus 4H plus SO4 minus 2 plus 2 electrons will convert into, here it should be a Pb plus 2 charge. That has not been written, hence Pb plus 2 is cancelled. Here it should be Pb plus 2 because this Pb plus 2 reacts with SO4 minus. So Pb plus 2 will be cancelled. So then what remains here? PbO2 plus 4H plus 2 electrons plus SO4 minus 2. That is written on the left side. What remains here? Pb plus 2 is cancelled and PbSO4 plus twice H2. This is second reaction. First, I told you. Second, this is overall reduction. So overall oxidation, overall reduction will give you net cell reaction. So we will see that net cell reaction during discharge. So it is the sum of overall oxidation at anode and overall reduction at cathode. Hence, the reaction will be like this. So this is our net reduction reaction and net oxidation reaction. We already added both the reactions, and what happens is, that means reaction number 1 and reaction number 2, if you write below one another, then the left side we have to add to the left and right to the right. We'll get this Pb plus PbO2 plus 4H plus twice SO4 minus 2 gives twice PbSO4 plus twice H2. And 4H plus and 2SO4 minus 2, if you combine, what happens is twice H2SO4. So this can be written, or it is written like this. Left side Pb plus PbO2 plus twice H2SO4 gives twice PbSO4 plus twice H2O. That is third reaction, or we can say that is the net reaction during discharging. Understood? So if you don't understand this, then write down reaction number 1, reaction number 2, one below another and add them directly. You will get this reaction, then we will combine this and the net reaction will be like this. Now, when the cell operates, these reactions are occurring at anode cathode, and as this redox reaction that generates current, and H2SO4 is consumed. Its concentration decreases as it is consumed and H2 is produced. Its concentration goes on decreases, and the cell potential also gets decreased. The cell potential completely depends on concentration or density of a sulfuric acid. Then, when we have to stop and when we have to start recharging, that we will see in detail in the next session. So, today's assignment will be like this. Only you have to explain construction of lead storage battery by drawing figure. The question about discharging and recharging reactions I will ask in the next session. In the next session, we will just revise what happens at discharge, and then we will write or see in detail about the recharging reactions. Understood? So, thank you.